All right. Well, we are Monday morning, January 10th. This is the monthly board meeting for the Old Town Business Improvement District. And we are back to virtual. So right now we have three board members on, which gives us a quorum, and we'll go ahead and get started on some of the items. We can hold off on the one regarding Cafe Wong for a little bit and the wine walk, but let's go ahead with the approval of minutes. We have
actually before we start that, Craig, number 3 is a new item on your agenda. By state law, in order to continue to have these public meetings virtually, you do have to have a motion and a vote on continuing to do virtual. I did a bunch of whereases that defines the reasons why we are virtual. And so I'll need a motion and a second and a ultimate vote on making sure we stay virtual for this meeting. And if we decide next meeting's meeting will be virtual, we'll do the same thing again.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're official. Then we'll move on to the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve, or do we have any amendments?
I was not involved in this meeting. I think I missed this one, so I'm going to defer.
Adam, if you make the motion, I'll second it.
Our motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting as is.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, I guess we can talk a little bit more about your situation officially, Jason.
I am leaving the University of Verne here effective January 21st. That's my last day. To replace my position here on the board, I recommend Dr. Zuhei Espinoza. She is our newest Chief Government Relations Officer. She'll make a great addition to this board and provide recommendations and oversight and help informed of our activities on the university.
I do have one call-in attendee, and I'm not sure who that is. So if you are a board member, please raise your hand at this point, or if you're Dr. Zuhei Espinoza, please raise your hand, and then I'll admit you to the room at this time. Yeah, I guess they're not either of those two people.
It might be Cafe Wong.
They are logged in separately, so
Oh,
I see them as well.
okay.
Oh, Jason, we will miss having you there. How long have you been? 2 years?
3.5 years now.
3.5?
Yeah.
Pandemic, I don't count that time.
2 years of pandemic. It's been a little much.
2 years lost in your life.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you well on your new endeavor, and look forward to working with your replacement in the university as usual. So thank you very much. And do we need a motion, Eric, to?
Yeah, I'd like a recommendation to appoint Dr. Zuhei Espinoza to the board, and then I'll have to take this to the city council at their next meeting on Tuesday next week officially, and then she'll be able to be a voting member of the board at your next regular meeting.
Jason, would you like to make that a motion for your?
Sure. I can make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of the new designee from the University of Verne, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. When do you officially leave, Jason?
The 21st of January.
Oh, all righty. Is there anything else, Eric, just to give anybody else a couple minutes, anything else other than the Cafe Wong and Wine Walk?
Yeah, so I would just let the rest of the board know that I did reach out to alternate Sean Franco Because of his inability to attend your meetings. I know you discussed this briefly at your last meeting, which I was absent at. But I did reach out to him and explain that since he's been vacant or not attending the last 3+ meetings, that technically it's a vacancy on the as an alternate, and he agreed that his schedule does not allow him to participate in this monthly meeting. And so he's definitely still interested in being a participant in Old Town events and wants to do good to help promote the Old Town. But at this point, he recognizes that his work schedule doesn't allow him to attend these meetings. And so because of that, we're going to create that vacancy, and then we're going to promote and ask for other people to put their name out there in order to be appointed to the alternate position. And then hopefully have that recommendation on to you guys at your next meeting, and then have the city council ratify that basically at the following meeting. I see we have a guest, or our new future board member.
Yep. Welcome, Zuhei.
Hi, how are you? It's very great to be here.
Hi, welcome.
We would like to welcome you. Jason has big shoes to fill, but I'm sure you're going to fit right in. And we have just completed a motion to recommend your appointment to the city council. So that will happen very shortly, but welcome aboard. Is there anything you'd like to share with us, where you came from, or any words of wisdom?
Sure thing. Hi, how are you? Espinoza.
Your audio.
Verne. I'm incredibly part of the community. A little reverse.
Hey, your feed is
primarily
is breaking up.
Stakeholder.
Zuhei, please turn your video
I'm sorry,
off.
you cut out a little.
Yeah, you're cutting out a lot.
Yeah.
Turn off your video.
If you turn off your video, it might come through better. Uh-oh. Looks like it's frozen. Oh,
There we go.
okay. All right. Can you hear us?
Hi there, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Much better.
That's better.
Okay, great. So as I was saying, my primary role and responsibilities at the university is to really interface with internal and external stakeholders to ensure that we're all in alignment, that we work in good spirit to really advance our interest. So if you could, I'm happy to be of service to you all, to learn, and I very much look forward to working with you all.
Very good. Well, we're happy to have you aboard. Thank you very much. And hopefully one of these days soon we'll be back virtual and we can all meet in person. All right. Well, do you have anything in the city report, Eric?
No, but I do have Fong Wong from Cafe Wong that's ready to join the meeting for the next item if you like.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great. Fong, if you'd like to go ahead, we have information that you supplied, and I believe you met with all of the board members. We had a nice chat there. So welcome.
Fong, if you could unmute yourself at least. There we go.
How's that? Can you hear us now?
Yes,
Yep.
good.
Great.
Yeah, I like can't help me talking, and then he better to me. Save everybody time.
Hello. Well, we have the item at the last meeting. We discussed the temporary carve out of parking spaces for seating, and since then, Cafe Wong has went and done some work to come up with an alternative plan. And so I think the best thing is just turn it over you at this point, Ken or Fong, whoever would like to discuss your proposal.
Great. Thank you, Craig. This is Ken Belmonte, and we represent Cafe Wong. And I wanted to thank the board members and members of the city that are present, as well as Old Town business and property owners and residents of Laverne who may be listening in. Since the last DIBID meeting, Fong and I have had the opportunity to discuss changes to the patio with a few members of the Old Town District. And we have received a lot of very thoughtful and insightful feedback, which has helped guide and shape today's proposal. I don't know if you have them in front of you, but I had submitted some photos of extended patios that are currently being used in Claremont Village. And among some of their features include level decking that extends from the curb, barrier walls with built-in planters on the top, and extended posts that allow for the attachment of canopy and sunshade material, as well as outdoor lighting. If the board moves to recommend its approval, we hope that it would also consider recommending the patio be allowed to remain in place for a duration of 18 to 24 months. We understand that the construction of this type of patio would require an investment somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $15,000. Such a time frame would give Cafe Wong enough time to recoup the cost of building it. Once the University of Laverne student enrollment begins to return to normal levels, foot traffic in Old Town will steadily increase. And with the completion of the Foothill Gold Line, the future of the Old Town District will forever be changed. How we begin to plan for that influx of people and the greater demand it will place on all the businesses and services within the district will go a long way in helping to maintain the Old Town charm that we all have come to love about this place. While these are medium and long-term needs of the Old Town District, there is currently an immediate short-term need. As you may all well know, that the Omicron variant has become the predominant COVID-19 strain, and it is spreading across the nation, state, and county at a very rapid rate. I believe yesterday, LA County recorded a record 45,000 cases. So as we enter another round of uncertainty, people's behavior will change and be affected by this. For example, we had a reservation of a party of 30 yesterday, which was canceled because many of the members of the party had tested positive for COVID. So being able to provide outdoor options to our customers at this time is crucial as we are forced yet to endure another surge. In closing, we would like to acknowledge how grateful we are to the city and the advisory board and all the stakeholders in the Old Town District for their support. The extended patio has provided a lifeline for Cafe Wong at a time when rising labor costs, now in its 6th straight year, rising food costs, and this pandemic now entering its 3rd year, have extended our struggle just to survive. Old Town is a special place with a special people within a special city. So we feel so fortunate to be part of it. Thank you for giving us the floor, and we would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Eric, would you like to give staff's perspective on this?
Well, as the board knows,
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Hi, Mickey.
Mickey, how are you?
Sorry, I was on before the meeting, but I was muted, so I had to log off and get back on. So I apologize, but I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, welcome.
I was just going to say that as the board was informed, the current permit for the use of their parking spaces does expire in February. And so the board had previously recommended that be when the outdoor dining area in the parking spaces be removed. with the current setup they have. And so obviously Ken and Fong have proposed a more permanent solution. And as you heard him ask for at least a 18 to 24 month allowance. And then I guess if you're supportive of that, then that can be reevaluated later down the road to see if it can remain. So basically, really the question before the board is whether or not you're supportive of making those 3 spaces being occupied for outdoor dining for 1.5 to 2 years.
What is staff's position on that time frame and the design or proposal that they're talking about?
Yeah, so obviously, I think it would be an improvement over what's out there today. And as when we reopened D Street in the summer, that was explained to the city council and to the board that this was always an option that the restaurants could apply for. And so I think the investment, Ken is right that it's a significant investment to build out a raised platform deck and framed out walls, lighting, etc. And so with that kind of investment, I too, if it were me, would ask for a time frame somewhere in the 1.5 to 2 years, because it is a significant investment. And so as staff, I am supportive of it. But this is, the council has regularly deferred to the board on how you want to react to these ever-changing world that we live in. And so it really is a decision that's up to the board at this point.
Have you talked with Public Works? Are they satisfied that this could meet their barrier requirements?
Yeah, we haven't gotten into all the details of the barrier requirements and how it can be built, but I'm pretty certain that we can figure out how to make that work. Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. What if somebody else then wants to build out in front of their business? Where do we go from there?
So I think at this point, it's a case-by-case basis, and the board can approve or deny however you wish. No other business has come forward to express any interest in doing that to me. So, but if they did, then we would bring it back before the board for approval.
So are we the final say, or is it the city that's the final say?
The city has to issue the permit, but as I mentioned, the city council has regularly deferred to the board. So they're going to, if the board here is not supportive, then the city council, the direction would be to not issue an extension of the permit to be in the parking spaces, which the Cafe Wong could appeal that decision and take it to the city council for them to vote on. But at this point, basically where the staff is acting, it will react to however the board votes. So if you're not supportive, then at this point, the permit would not be extended.
For me, we just don't know how this pandemic is playing out. When this all began, we thought we're going to be away for 2 months and be right back. So now that we're going on to almost 2 years now, who knows what this is going to pan out. I like to see if it's needed, of course, if you have the outdoor area opportunity for your customers, I think that's good. And the fact is trying to improve the aesthetics of it, I think will help build the neighborhood, make it look a little bit more presentable and not so temporary. The question is how long does this go on, and the permanency of it? And is this something that is going to be envisioned for even longer? Do we just keep extending it, that even post-pandemic, is this something that evolves into a full outdoor area for most businesses? And how's it going to impact the parking situation? I am full support of the pandemic solution. I'm just curious about how it will play out 5 years, 10 years from now.
Well, and even during the holidays, the one thing that that I kept hearing from customers is I drove around 3 times, which parking, has always been a problem for the downtown. So I don't know if we approved Ken and Fong's proposal, would it be fair for us not to approve, I don't know, like Lordsburg next door to me. I mean, that seems like that's a really sticky spot to get into. But is the college coming back? Are you guys fully in class, or are you guys tapering back for the rest of? I know some colleges I've heard are going to go just online until the end of January, maybe the end of February. What's your position right now?
Yeah, good question, because before the holidays, we put the recommendation for the January term, which is a short interim term. We have encouraged remote teaching. Only those that need to be on campus can be on campus. But now that we've seen such a high influx of cases, a surge, for example, we had 42 cases, I think, for the entire semester, for the fall semester. We added another 44 cases during the 2-week break time. And then last week, we're at 70 cases in 1 week. So we're now looking to adopt a policy of saying, hey, we're going to go full remote, but we have not yet made that decision. We want to make sure that whatever the peak is, we want to make sure that we hold back people from having this lot of population on campus until 4 weeks after the peak. So we're still in discussions of what that looks like, but I imagine my best guess is that you're probably going to see very small population on campus, if any.
And that would be most of spring, Jason?
I hope not. We think that this is going to be a short, quick surge, peak out within 2 weeks, and that when 4 weeks later, we'll start to return to campus. But right now, we haven't made that decision yet. January 30th is our first day of first day of spring semester. So we need to make an announcement soon to make sure that faculty, students are well prepared and how we're going to start this next semester.
So as of right now, Jason, the library parking lot is not going to be available, but that sounds like could be subject to what actually evolves.
I think so. I think we're going to see a remote atmosphere on campus, so you'll have definitely some open parking. If we choose to close down D Street again, I'm not even sure if that's an option. The parking should be available. And I think too is that our enrollment is such that it is light, much more than other years. I think our parking capacity is probably way under where it needs to be. So I don't know if that's something that we can work with to make sure that we can provide some extra capacity for businesses during this COVID time.
Okay.
I was thinking about that and wondering if, that first row that faces D Street, kind of across from Cactus Coffee, I think there's 21 parking spots there, 20 regular parking spots and 1 handicap spot. Could there be something put up there that said, business parking or Old Town business parking or something like that, that we could utilize? Because my fear, which is always, I think, a fear of every business downtown, is the parking. People get frustrated, and it's much easier to go somewhere where it's easy to park and shop or eat or whatever. And if we could have those parking spaces and either employees park there, so it frees up our back parking lots and our street, or it's made aware that, we can tell all of our customers that is parking for Old Town. I think that's something we should really try to work on, because parking is the main deal.
Yeah.
But when we closed D Street and we made our parking lot D available for the public, I don't think it was utilized very much. Not many people were taking advantage of that opportunity. So it was kind of surprising to me. I'm not sure where people were parking, but they weren't parking in our parking lot.
Yeah, we asked all the businesses
when-
to have their employees park there, and nobody did. They continue to park at the most convenient parking spaces close to them. And during COVID, we weren't doing parking enforcement, and everybody realized that. So they were parking in the 90-minute spaces on the street right in front of their businesses.
Right,
I mean, it was just
right.
Eric,
we've tried.
Eric, you'll probably remember better than me, but several years ago we did a swap. Those first two rows along D Street are actually city property, but we swapped for C and Bonita. Do you know if those spaces over behind the fire station, are they utilized very much?
I think more so than these were. What the problem before was that those spaces along D Street in the library parking lot were signed as 90-minute or 3-hour, whatever it was at the time. And university students would still park there. And so even though they were public spaces, the university students were there at 8 a.m. So they were the first ones to use it. So we felt that the best solution was to do a swap of those spaces with the university, because they were utilizing them anyway. So we got more spaces back behind public safety because we felt those spaces were nearer to the businesses on D Street than what those spaces down there were. So yeah, so technically it is land owned by the city, but we have an agreement with the university that swapped those spaces out. So those are now university only spaces. Now, that doesn't mean the university couldn't decide to allow for more public parking in that lot based on what their enrollment or how they're doing their classes. But today, those are university only parking.
Okay. Let me throw something out. So when this came up, it seemed like it was really two issues were concerned. One was, boom, there's this big ugly barrier that caught everybody's attention, and I think that probably was the biggest negative factor for most people, at least the ones I've talked to. And then the parking spaces, 3 parking spaces. Back when we first started the work on the pandemic and closing the street, it was offered to everybody to do a more permanent street patio. And I know personally, when I first saw what had happened in Claremont, I thought, wow, this looks awesome. You know, this is great. So I think that the plan, you know, of course, these are photos of what somebody else has done, but I think the concept addresses the aesthetic issue. So I'm not super concerned with that. I think planning could work with them to make sure that it follows along with that. It would make it more appealing for customers. I think it would, as Jason said, I think it would actually be a plus for Old Town. We've all enjoyed seeing more people out on the street dining and walking and in this last time. So I think on that front, the aesthetics, I think this is a great plus for us. The parking, Mickey's right. It's always been a problem. We are sometimes our own worst enemies in getting employees to park in the farther away places, so that keeps the close in stuff available. I am not overly concerned about the loss of 3 parking spaces. Now, if everybody on that block of D Street said, we want to do the same thing, in effect, you'd be closing the street. That would not work. But I'm not anticipating this. It is temporary. And so there is the ability to revisit this if others want to do this as well. So at this point, I'd like to hear if there's any others that are listening. Do you have anybody else, Eric, that is on the line?
No.
Personally, I think this would be a plus. I think 18 to 24 months would work. We thought a year ago that this would be long gone by now, and we're in the thick of it. So who knows what's going to happen. I personally, I would support the concept.
I agree that the aesthetics are addressed. That seemed to be the biggest concern from the last meeting. That was what everyone was talking about. And I think this kind of addresses all those concerns. And outdoors doesn't seem to be going away. I know we were outside only last week just because we didn't have enough staff to serve inside. So I don't know. I have a hard time seeing that the trade-off, the 3 spots, is as a loss for Old Town.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think 3 spots is, going to make or break us, if you will. But my concern is, okay, let's say, look, I would rather eat outside on a beautiful day than inside. So let's see that, the other restaurants all want to do it. I don't see how we can be fairly tell one person yes and another person no. I think that just gets us into a really sticky situation. So that's my concern, is somebody wanting to do it later on. And just because nobody's done it now doesn't mean that they aren't going to want to do it later. And then the other concern too is what we saw when the street was closed. When it was super hot, nobody was sitting outside. When it was raining and freezing, nobody was sitting outside. So you have those maybe months of, let's just say, July and August and December and January, where there is nobody sitting outside. So those spots could be utilized. Those are just my thoughts. I totally am in support of what Cafe Wang wants to do, but my concerns are down the line.
Right. Ken or Fong, any comments based on what you've heard?
I'll mute.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yep.
Is that better? No, I think the discussion is very interesting, and we just hope that you guys will come to a conclusion that will be in the best interest of the district. And we know that you guys have to weigh so many factors, not just us. And I think the beauty of Old Town District is that it is almost exclusively made up of small business, and there's a charm that goes along with that. And because of that, we all have a responsibility towards each other to make this district work. And so whatever you guys come up with, obviously we will, abide by that, and we put in your decision making is what we look for, your leadership. Thank you.
And I think everybody.
Hey, Eric. Sorry, Eric, the parking permits that are going to be issued. Now, could you make it so that the employees would have to park? Let's just say the college said, okay, you guys can have, 20 spaces or whatever. And obviously, I know we have more than 20 employees, but is there something you think we could work out that way, since, like Jason said, he didn't feel like that lot was being utilized? Now, when I would leave at night, I would see a lot of people going in there and parking, but during the day, I have no idea because I'm in my store during the day. But do you think we could work out something to try to get the employees to park in other areas that wouldn't be so impacted, like on the street or behind where? I mean, sometimes that parking lot at Warehouse is almost full at 9 o'clock and nobody's even open yet. Well, excuse me, Roberta's is open, but it's mostly all employees. So I think if, we could get the employees to park somewhere else, it would be awesome. But I know that's difficult to do.
Yep.
I don't know. Any thoughts?
You have employee permits, but you can't distinguish who's an employee, who's a visitor. How do you convince all the employees to park in a certain area? And how do you monitor that and enforce it? I don't know. I mean, we try to encourage, but
I know. I mean, I have business owners parking in front of my store all day, and I think, what are you doing? Like, those are for our customers.
right.
I don't get it.
There are alternate, provision. The Church of the Brethren lot is still an option. I don't think that gets used a whole lot. So anyway, are there any additional comments? Are we to the point of seeing if we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I would like some clarification on what length of period.
I think to make it worthwhile for the investment, to make the aesthetics look good, it sounded like 2 years was the period of time that is needed. But I'm open to other further discussion on time period.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve recommend approval of the proposal for a period of 2 years. And Eric, just one little side thing. We still don't have any indication of what ABC might do at this point, right?
So the state law, there was a bill that was passed, I think in September, that basically says that once the governor declares the emergency over, then the outdoor expansion of alcohol sales will be for 1 year after the emergency is declared over. So at this point, I would say, who knows, but it's at least a year out always until the governor declares it over. So I would think that 2 years from now, it probably would still be in place.
Right. Okay, do we have a second for the motion? If not, I'll second the motion. If no other discussion, let's call the question. All those in favor of recommending approval, say aye.
Aye.
I
And any opposed, say nay. Did you vote, Mickey?
Yes.
You might have been muted. Which did you vote?
Well, I still have some reservations about 2 years. That's a long time. I mean, this pandemic, we don't know what it's going to do. It could be over in, 6 months.
Was yours an aye or a nay?
It was an aye.
Okay. Yeah, there's no easy solutions. And every time I think, well, I got this figured out, forget it. So,
and is there any way that we can change that to, because originally it was 18 months, because, we're just go ahead and improving it for 2 years when the proposal was 18 to 24 months or something. So couldn't we just change that to 18 months?
You all just voted 4-0 to approve it for 2 years. So,
Okay.
and I think Jason's point is well taken, that, it's a fairly substantial investment, and this gives them a little more time to recoup that.
Right.
Okay, well, Ken, Fang, there you go. And you can work with Eric to work out the details of how this would go forward from this point. But we wish you all the best of continued success out there.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the board's decision. And yes, we will work together with Eric to move forward.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I would like to add, I was really impressed and appreciated that you reached out to not just the board members, but I know you talked with a number of other business owners, and you actually offered to host a board meeting at your restaurant. And so once we get back to in person, I think we can work with staff to make that happen. It'd be a good time to come down and enjoy your place. So thank you again. All right. Let's move on to the wine walk. And I think last time we talked about this, we thought that we had pretty much a plan and a date, but now I'm wondering if things are still uncertain for us. So anybody, Eric, do you have any thoughts on this?
That's the $1 million question, really. I mean, the board's decision is, there's money primarily in advertising and marketing. Then you have your wine costs, which can, be delayed, but we're here only about 3 months out from that date. So it's coming up close to where you basically have to make a decision on whether you're moving forward or not. Today, just for the record, the event could occur, as it always has, with the requirement that guests are wearing masks while indoor and not actively eating or drinking. So that's how it would have to be enforced if the event were to occur today. What regulations might be in place in April, who knows? But today the event could occur. So I don't know that the restrictions will be more than they are today. But there will still be some rules that would have to apply if they stay the same.
And what is that rule again?
Anybody indoor has to wear a mask if they're not actively eating or drinking.
Oh,
And so
okay.
there'd be enforcement that each business would have to, just like that you do today, right? If you're a business today,
I'm like, well, how could they drink and eat?
yeah, I mean, that's really that's the issue with the wine walk, right? Is that most of the time you're eating or drinking. So most of the time people won't have to have a mask on, but by the definition, when they walk into the establishment, they're going to have a mask on and then take it off and put it on and all that. So
would closing the street help with giving people outdoor space to eat and drink?
yeah, I mean, that's, that was one of the things that we had talked about, of having it, in the street or in the parking lot behind public safety, and changing the event from go to this place, go inside and out. But that's kind of the point of it, right, Craig? I mean, the whole idea behind the wine walk is to get people to visit your business and your brick and mortar location. So it's always an option, but it doesn't really fulfill the original intent of the wine walk.
Right.
Well, the parking lot definitely wouldn't, but if they still went around to get the pours, they'd still be visiting businesses, even if they're not drinking it inside the shop.
Yeah, if the street was used just for extra space for people to walk around, but not necessarily for serving, still have that along the sidewalks, maybe in front of businesses. I've got real mixed feelings about this. I think everybody would like to move forward. I know how much effort there is. We were in the same position 2 years ago. We had a theme and a date, and we actually printed posters, and then we had to pull the plug. So part of me is saying we might be better off to postpone it a little bit to see how things play out the next month or so. Maybe consider combining it like we had once before talked about combining with a beer walk. I really, at this point, I just don't know what's the smart thing for us. Mickey, what do you think?
I think we should start planning something. I mean, everybody else is still going ahead with their events. I realize in the last couple of weeks, we've had a big spike. With both of my daughters are nurses, so I know it. Pomona Valley is full. My daughter does not work on a COVID unit, but her whole unit is full with COVID. However, this variant is much shorter, and it's not quite as, I realize people are getting sick, but most people, it's not, most people aren't getting hospitalized. We know a lot more about COVID. They know how to treat it better. So a lot of people are saying that we're kind of in the spike right now, and then it's going to go down because more people are vaccinated. More people have gotten COVID and gotten over it, so they have those immunities. So I think we should start planning something. maybe it's not the first week of May if people aren't comfortable with that, but people are really missing events. And, if we do something kind of outside and, they can walk into your store, get the wine, and then go back outside and drink it. I think we should start planning something.
Well, the date that we had selected was April 30th. So 2.5,
Okay.
3.5 months.
When's the drop dead date for planning and executing and making, like printing and everything else? When do we have to have a?
Well, 3 months is adequate. You could probably get down to 2 months, but that would be tight. But maybe the smart thing to do right now would be to set up a meeting for a wine walk committee and start laying some of the things out. And I don't know. I think that given the way this current variant is going, that within the next couple of weeks it will be much more clear, but that doesn't mean something else won't take its place. So is there interest in setting up a meeting to discuss wine walk?
Yes, I'm interested.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to go to a committee meeting. There's plenty of logistics that we'd have to discuss as well.
One thing I can do in the meantime is reach out to ABC, because their regulations are really going to dictate on what you can do if you're going to try to do something different, such as closing the street down and allowing people to go into a business, get a pour, walk out there. I don't know what kind of regulations the ABC is going to want, how secure, fenced in, not fenced in, etc. And remember, you also have all the restaurants on D Street that cannot participate because they would have to give up their alcohol license for the day, and so they are open to the public. So closing the street is going to probably be opposed, I would imagine, by the restaurants that are on D Street that are open at night. So that's another issue to consider.
And maybe we just, since we're planning it, we just plan like we do every other year and make it the same. And then, God forbid something happens, we maybe try to change it. But I mean, I think it's best if people walk around, because then they can go to the businesses on C Street and Bonita, and it feels a little closed off to those businesses if we close the street, I think.
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful to know if it's a possibility, because it seems like it would be kind of a hybrid of what we used to do, and then something modified that would address some people's concerns.
I will reach out. Yeah, I'll reach out anyways and figure out what would be allowed, what's not allowed, and try to find the parameters to at least present to you guys, so you know what you can and can't do.
What about are Mondays good? What about 2 weeks from today, the 24th?
Well, Monday's not good for Matt unless we're going to Zoom.
What days are you here, Matt?
Pretty much every other day.
Of course. Well, Wednesdays are good for me also.
Wednesdays are fine.
I just have to do it, before 10. Like early morning, like 8:30 would be great.
How about 8:30 on the 26th? That work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys want to meet at my store?
Yes. Okay. And I'll send out an email with the last list I have, although I know there's some new folks on it. Okay, Wednesday, 8:30 a.m., the 24th or 26th.
26.
26.
Okay, great. Okay, any other items? Jason, anything from university?
No, I mean, I shared what we currently have going on with our increase in cases. So we're still, stay tuned for some decisions and directions on how we're going to open up our spring semester.
When you said earlier that enrollment was down, is that mostly the international component?
International transfers, we're seeing, if you look at our community colleges, their enrollment's down 21% this year.
Wow.
So that basically transfers to us that our transfer rate will be much less in the following year. So that's what we experienced. Our traditional undergrad is up, but all our adult learners are down, internationals down, transfers are down. So in general, we have some declining enrollment that we need to try to recoup in the coming years. But COVID is, who knows what we're facing here. So it's we all thought it was going to be a minor little thing, but now it seems to be lasting longer than anticipated.
To say the least, yeah. Okay. Any other items? Anything from city or marketing, Mickey?
I don't really have anything from marketing. Eric, do you know did Craig from the car show reach out to you? I sent him an email back, and I think I CC'd you on it. Did you hear from him?
I didn't get your email. I have not talked to him. No.
Oh, okay.
About what issue?
I just reminded him because he promised me if there was jewelry in the street last time, he wouldn't have it this time.
Yeah, no,
So
I will confirm, but he promised me the same, so I will confirm.
Okay, cool.
And the only other thing I had to add was Monero Square, unfortunately, it's not moving as fast as I had hoped. One of the problems being Edison's nobody's friend these days. And so that's been one of the holdups in terms of us being able to go out to bid. So I have a meeting with my engineer tomorrow. And unfortunately, I don't know today what the schedule is, but my goal was to have it out to bid and even awarded by the 1st of this year. And obviously we're not there yet. So I don't know what the schedule will be, but it's all based on when we can get Edison to sign off on the plan so we can go out to bid.
All right. If there's nothing else, no public comment, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.